go ahead and start. Thank you. We on? You ready? Okay. I'd like to welcome everyone to the December 5th, 2024 meeting of the Jones County Board of Tax Assessors. The chair will entertain a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
That's
Been
second.
properly motioned and second. Call for the question. All those in favor of the motion, do by raising your hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. First item on today's agenda is the approval of the minutes. Chair will entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes of the November 14th, 2024 meeting, the regular as well as the executive session. 18th? I'm sorry. November the 18th, 2024, regular and executive session. Chair will entertain a motion for the adoption and approval of those minutes.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes for November the 18th, 2024.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
It's been properly motioned and second to approve the minutes from the November 14th, 2024 regular and executive session meeting. Call for the question. All those in favor of the motion, do so by raising your hand. Those opposed, same sign. The motion carries. The next item on our agenda is the approval, and the board, you've been presented a copy of the meeting dates for the 2025 calendar year. The board will entertain chair will entertain a motion on the adoption of the meeting dates for the 2025 Board of Assessors meeting.
I offer a motion that we approve the dates for 2025 for the Jones County monthly meetings.
Do I hear a second?
I second it.
It has been properly motioned and second to approve the 2025 meeting dates for the Board of Tax Assessors for the 2025 meeting year. All those in favor of the motion, do by raising your hand. Those opposed, same motion sign. No opposed, motion carries. The next item, we'll hear from Kim Adams. Ms. Kim Adams.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I have worked for the tax assessor's office for 12 years with nothing but positive reviews. On November 18th, I was suspended for alleged insubordination, but to date have never been told what I did to warrant the suspension, despite numerous requests for that information. No member of the Board of Assessors has asked me any questions or spoke to me in any way directly about my behavior or any incidents that could be remotely considered insubordination. In addition, I'm not aware of any inquiries conducted by the Jones County regarding the events of October 24th, which made me fear for my physical safety at the hands of one of the co-workers in the office that I blew the whistle on. The lack of communication and information from the Board of Assessors indicates that my suspension is retaliation for blowing the whistle about the conditions and actions inside this office. I've reported about the fraud, waste, and abuse in the tax assessor's office, both before, on, and after September 3rd. And please note that regardless of the outcome today, I will continue to advocate for the citizens of Jones County to receive fair, uniform treatment from the assessor's office. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Adams. The next person to speak is taxpayer Mickey Parker. I'm sorry. Mr. Parker.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today. Can't think of anything better to do. I want to hand you a document. I know I only have 2 minutes, and I'll make it on time. But below is the amount of taxes owed by the 21 public utilities that serve Jones County that could not be collected because our sales ratio was below 36% in 2022, 2023, and 2024. The Tax Assessor's Office has lost Jones County, the City of Gray, and the Jones County school system $1.1 million. The sales ratio problem should have been fixed years ago. You should resign and allow another board to fix this problem. How in the world our school system, our cities and counties are going to suffer because of your incompetence is beyond me. All the numbers on this form came from the change of assessment notices that Mary Watts has signed. There are 42 of them. And as a side note, your HR skills and the way you're handling Kim Adams and the rest of the staff is just absolutely atrocious. I hope you're getting strong legal counsel. Otherwise, the taxpayers of this county are going to end up having to settle massive lawsuits, because if your skills in HR are as good as skills in tax assessment, we are in serious, serious trouble. How much time I got left?
You out.
I'm out? Okay. Good enough. Thank you.
Okay. Next person to present information to the board is taxpayer James Clutchfield.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm glad to be here with y'all.
Yes, sir.
Been knowing some of y'all a long time, right, Tim?
Yes, sir. You live in my area of this county.
That's right.
Round.
As a concerned citizen of Jones County and a citizen for 86 years, my entire life, I've never seen such a mess. It is my belief that the Tax Assessors Board and the Chief Tax Appraiser has created a hostile work environment. Now the board wants to fire someone who's done nothing but tell the truth. It is my belief that part-time county employees, the board, does not have the authority to fire anyone. Now, the chief tax appraiser may have the authority, but the board, to my knowledge, does not. The board's job, I believe, is to oversee the preparation of the tax digest along with the chief tax appraiser, who directs the board to correct any problems that are found. Undoubtedly, this was not done. Could this be because of the leadership? Who did the performance evaluation on the employees in question? What is the appeal process for the employees? I do not believe the tax assessor's office has constitutional authority, like the sheriff's office or someone like that. Does Jones County have an HR department that handles employees' problems? I think they do, for the entire county except for the constitutional part. I believe the employee dispute has caused the reason for the main problem to be forgotten. State ratio should be between 38 and 40%. Jones County is around 33. Jones County has missed the state ratio for years. Costed the county over $3 million from utilities alone. The new tax digest is due on January the 1st. No fix in sight. It is my belief before this is over, it will cost the county over $6 million taxpayers' dollars. Ladies and gentlemen of the Tax Assessor's Office, if you care anything about Jones County, all the board members with Chief of Tax Appraiser should resign immediately to avoid a humiliating court case and additional cost for taxpayers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Clutchfield. Board members, you've been handed a copy of the 2024 motor vehicle appeals.
Oh, we got one more.
Hmm?
One more.
You got one more? I'm sorry. Mr. Mark Brenneman, we'll hear from you. The next item will be the approval of the motor vehicle appeals. We have 23 that's been presented to you prior to the meeting. Do you have any questions relative to these motor vehicle appeals?
No.
If you don't have any questions, Chair will entertain a motion to approve the 23 motor vehicle appeals as presented.
Offer motion that we approve the 23 motor vehicle appeals as.
May I hear a second?
I second it.
It's been properly motioned and second to approve the motor vehicle appeals consisting of 23 appeals. Call for the question. All those in favor of the motion do by raising your hand. All those opposed, likewise sign. There being none, the motion passes. The next item is approval of the ENRs and nods, which consists of a total of 5.
Okay. This one here is equipment estimated was wrong. We fixed it. 2 of them. Next one is, depreciation wasn't applied. This is a non-taxable amount because it's below 7,501 in personal property. This other one is a boat that was sold, and was registered in South Carolina, and it's for 23 and 24.
You reviewed the 5 ENRs and nods. Chair will entertain a motion on approval of those 5 ENRs and nods.
I make a motion that we approve the 5 ENRs. No nod.
Second.
It's been properly motioned and second to approve the 5 ENRs and nods. Call for the question. All those in favor of the motion do by raising your hand.
Question.
Man.
No.
Those opposed do by same sign. There being none, the item is approved for the approval of the 5 ENRs and nods. The next item is approval of the public utilities.
Okay. Assessors, you know, this time of year, public utility assessments come out from the state. The state values the public utilities. We don't value them. we have to send out the assessment notices, and you must approve them. It's the original. What's your name? Sign. I want all of them. I got you all a copy so that you can look through them.
Thank you.
As you can see, the number changed because we got an increase in our sales ratio study this year. So the number that was originally calculated by the Department of Revenue has gone up because our ratio is going up through our appeal. You'll see those numbers on the side, the new numbers.
You wanna keep this?
members, you had opportunity to review those, public utilities, and I've had the laborious task of signing them all. Chair called for a motion to approve the, adjustments in the public utilities.
Offer a motion that we approve. That's
Do I hear a second?
I second it.
It has been properly motioned and second to approve the public utilities. Chair call for, if all those in favor of the motion do by raising your hand. Those opposed likewise. There are no opposed. The item passes unanimously. Next item is one that I've asked the chief appraiser to put on the agenda. This involves the daily management and operation of the office. As I've been advised, a lot of county assessor's office, they follow the same policy. We have, as I understand it, that the board hasn't in the past adopted a policy of this nature. So the chair is offering up a policy to grant the chief appraiser authority over the daily function of the tax assessor's office, including the ability to hire, terminate, and discipline staff as he or she sees fit effective January 1, 2025. I'm asking the county attorney, are you familiar with the authority that the board may grant the chief appraiser as a designee for the daily managerial operations of the office?
I'm not, and that was not posed to me before this meeting, or I would have looked into it. I certainly can look into it.
Okay.
I think the sort of runnings, operations of the office are fine. As far as the ability to hire, fire, things of that nature, I'll need to look into the constitutionality behind that, or the authority. I know you all certainly have the authority to fire and discipline, but I don't know if that can be delegated.
Okay.
That
That's
wasn't
fair.
posed before today,
Okay.
but I can look into it.
And if you're looking at, see if we can, he could act as our designee, and then we will, through a resolution, confirm any actions that may be done. That
Let
may
me
be
send
it.
myself a message on that. 'Cause I
And the
don't
reason why I'm
know.
saying that, we only meet once a month, first Thursday. And there may be some office interaction that we're not privy to because we're not present every day in the office.
Yes, sir.
But in order to maintain, continuity and operations in the office, then it may, this is why I asked this item be added, in all fairness to the employees as well as to the chief appraiser. So I'm willing to, hold this item off and not ask for a motion till the attorney has an opportunity to research and give us a legal opinion. Okay? That being said,
Okay.
we'll move to item number 12 on your permanent agendas. This is an allowance for public comments. Anyone that'd like to address the Board of Tax Assessors have an opportunity. You're granted 2 minutes to make those comments. Well,
Chairman, do you want me to time keep?
yes, ma'am. You help me out, 'cause
I did not file a protest to my taxes. I've been up here like 3 different times.
excuse me, sir. Could we get your name and your address for the record?
My name is Robert Jordan. I live at 372 Turner Woods Road.
Yes, sir.
This is my 4th time. I've been up here 3 times to protest my taxes. It appears that my neighbors, the people that are in my neighborhood, taxes doesn't seem to go up, but mine go up. This year, mine went up to like $300, or in $300 increase at one shot. Before that, it was $300. I come in and I protest to the board about what's going on. They say there's nothing we can do, unless you just keep. Yeah, not this one. The last time I came on, you guys wasn't here. I think I don't know if she was.
No.
This might be a whole different board,
Yeah.
but I've been here at least 3 times, 3 different times. So
Okay, sir.
I'm
So,
just wondering, why is that?
okay, so
Why is it that, and I talked to the guy, last time I came, he talked about my structure, and I said, well, you don't appraise a house based off of the structure alone. I'm thinking, I'm not an appraiser, but I do know that you don't go by just the structure alone. and make a decision on how many, how the taxes go. And that was his defense.
Okay, just for clarity, the, tax, office, the appraiser, what he does is go out, and his job is to appraise your property based on the market, fair market value, okay? And then, obviously, the county commissioners, once he tabulates these values, and they do a mathematical equation on how much they need for the budget, they set the millage rate. And that's how your taxes is generated, from the millage rate. Now, you get a tax notice advising you of what that, value is, as well as what that estimated tax is gonna be. And you have an opportunity to appeal it to the Board of Equalization. That's the board that hears if you feel there's some discrepancy in the appraiser's value of your property. We don't have authority here to do that, but there's a process, and that's it. If you're not satisfied at the Board of Equalization, you can even appeal as high as the Superior Court.
Okay. I do understand the process. I've been through the process. I was, I guess, basically discouraged because it seemed like they were determined to keep coming back.
Let me ask you
But-
this, who is they? Because I'm talking about two boards.
The appraisers. The
Okay.
appraisers are,
Okay.
I mean, the people that come out, look at,
Okay.
look
Okay.
at structure.
I understand.
You said that the taxes are set by the commissioners, is that what you said?
The millage rate is multiplied by
Okay.
40% of the
All right,
value of your
okay,
property.
so when the appraiser appraised the house, do they not determine the structure and the neighborhood that you live in and all these other things?
There are
Do they
many,
not go by that?
yeah, there are many factors.
Okay,
They use a
that's what I'm
program,
saying. So
which they call
it's not-
win gap.
It's not totally determined by the commissioners and the millage rate and all that stuff, right?
I
So
don't
what
mean
he
what- I don't mean
presents
what
to
you mean
them-
totally.
So what he presents to them is based off of a number of things, how he comes about getting his figure. Is that's what I'm saying?
That's how the appraiser uses values, yeah,
Okay.
on the
All
market,
right, that's what I'm saying, okay.
on the
All
market,
right.
okay?
Because that was his defense to me, was your structure, but he never went about. And I had a better case last time, because I really wasn't planning on speaking, I just came to see what was going on.
Mhm.
Because had I been prepared, I would have had some proof of what I'm talking about, so I just wanted to say that.
So let me ask you this, when you went before the Board of Equalization, did you present your
I did.
information to them?
Actually, I did.
And I assume you didn't have any
What I did
success?
was I had houses comparable to my house. The same size, same number of bedrooms, but my taxes went up, but these taxes didn't go up.
Okay, so
And-
your appraisal went up,
Right,
Okay.
yeah, my
Thus,
appraisal.
your tax.
Yeah, which
I got you.
which ends up being taxes.
yes.
Mr. George,
Yeah,
why don't you got time tomorrow? You got time tomorrow?
I'll be working.
Well, anytime you got time next week, stop in the office, so we can talk about your property, maybe explain some things to you.
Okay.
All right.
Where's your office?
Down the hall.
Okay.
Oh, at the end of the hall, okay?
Have anyone else want to make a public comment?
I'd like to speak.
Yes, sir. May I have your name and address for the record?
James Collins, I'm the mayor pro tem for the city of Gray. I live at 367 Autumn Ridge Trail. Remember last time you said no one ever comes to these meetings, right, Tim? Look at the room tonight. Full. I wanted to start with, I spoke at the county commissioners meeting the other night. I don't know if you listened to it. I want to start with, I feel like you were rude to Ashley the other night. I hope you'll consider apologizing to her. It was uncalled for. You asked for her opinion on things, set her up. Once she gave her opinion, you then dismissed her when she helped you because, as you own, by your own admission, you were unaware of what to do. I think it was just awful the way you spoke to her the other night. I let her know. I let the commissioners know, and I hope you'll consider apologizing to her. Like I said, you said no one ever comes. I think I speak for a lot of this room because I've spoken to a lot of this room that y'all should resign. Y'all should leave. I think it takes care of your number 11 on your own agenda tonight. How do you remove yourself from the daily duties or whatever duty you may have? Leave, and you don't have to be a part of any of the duties. I'm glad. I want to say to the county commissioners, thank you. I look forward to, as they move forward in the process, to just removing you all since you won't leave. You've tried to change the room that we're in so we couldn't get a crowd like this to come speak. You've tried to change and have changed how long we're allowed to speak. You're unaware of how the voting goes. That's just a number. I can't remember all the things y'all aren't aware of. I'm sorry. Like I said the other night, if y'all are sitting at home watching Jeopardy, you don't have to know anything. But when it affects the livelihood of the people in this county, we need y'all to know something. We need y'all to make a change. If the only changes that you can make is to not be a part and to not be involved in the process, remove yourself from the process. You could do it again tonight. So again tonight, like I did last time, I call on y'all to resign, end the mess that you've created, let the county commissioners assign people to fix the mess, and let us move on. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else before we close out this portion of the meeting?
I would like to,
Okay. All right, so I got two hands here, okay? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Gail Glass. I live at 110 Graybone Court. I'm not understanding how my taxes are and how they're done. This year, my taxes were, I signed a paper to begin with for the school tax exempt when I was 62, and I'm 72. And I'm getting charged, and I'm not getting charged. This year, my taxes are $776.60. Last year, my taxes were $176.91. I don't know how that happened, because I'm supposed to really, what I've always paid was $526.37. And then I have a little lower one here. How did all this happen? I mean, I don't understand how I'm gonna have to pay more taxes for the same place I've lived in for 33 years. Nothing's changed, only my taxes. I signed that paper to get my school exempt. I didn't get that either. So, how's that gonna be fixed? I don't know. But it needs to be, because I shouldn't have to pay all this money. I've been here a long time in this county, and it's really sad, because I brag about Jones County. And to have something like this, can you brag about it? Not too much. But can that be fixed?
There's an appeal process, yes, ma'am. But I don't have that authority.
Well, I'm just telling everybody I know how
This
this
board
stuff is
doesn't have
going.
that authority,
Okay.
okay? There's a board of equalization.
Excuse me, Mr. Andrew, can I answer her question as far as the homestead concerning the school taxes?
Why don't you give her your contact information so that she can come to your office, or you can contact her and give her your expert advice and knowledge of what she's talking about? Because unfortunately, I'm at a loss because I'm not familiar with the property, but you work in the office and you have a lot more insight
Yes,
to what her concerns are.
yes.
Is that fair, Ms. Gale?
If something's gonna be fixed, okay.
I'm just telling you, the information can be provided to you to answer your questions, okay?
Tell her who to ask for when she come in there.
Hmm?
Give her that name and ask for her when she come in there.
Did you ask for what?
Make sure she
She
knows
asked for her
name.
Yeah,
name to ask
why don't you
for
share
her.
information, just give her your information if you want to.
My name is Tanisha.
Just, give her a piece of paper and just write your number on there for her. You don't have a card. Okay. I saw one more hand. Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Matthew Sims. I live at 4279 Upper River Road. And I apologize, I'm not dressed a little bit nicer. I came here straight from the shop. I'm a homeowner here, property owner here. I run a business here. I pay all kind of taxes. I've never complained about my taxes in a public forum. Taxes are necessary. I don't necessarily agree with that, but they are necessary for the running of the county. What I have a problem with is the way this board and the way this tax assessor's office is functioning. I've lived here basically my entire life, and I've never been as disappointed and disgusted at any activity as I am right now. I have a tax assessor's office that seems to want to do whatever they want to do, and they want to run out whatever employees they feel like they want to run out. We have a tax assessor who has a history of this kind of activity throughout his entire career in other places, which is documented by the newspaper. We have a tax assessors board who can solve this problem with one meeting, and they won't do it. So if you won't take a stand to fix what is wrong with the tax assessor's office in this county, then nobody else, if we can't count on you to police yourselves, then we'll have to police it for you. So you have an opportunity to resign. I wish you would take it. Otherwise, you're going to be forced to. So that's all I need to say.
That concludes the public comment section. Now we ask the chief appraiser to give his monthly report.
All right. House Bill 581. Tommy Lee Crosby and I went to a one-day seminar on Monday put on by the Georgia Association of Assessing Officials, where people came from all over the state to address this new House bill that was voted on in November. Okay? The main one here is the floating homestead. 63% of the state voted for this. So it's going to be up to the commissioners to decide if they want this to happen or not, or if they want to opt out of it. That's totally up to them. They need to have 3 public meetings between January and March to hear from the public about it. This new House bill changes a lot of things. It changes our assessment notices that taxpayers will see and have seen over the years. It's going to change. The estimated tax amount won't be on the notice of assessment for 2025. It will be a rollback estimated millage rate that will be on the notice. That was approved by the legislature and voted on. What that's going to do, the Department of Revenue hasn't finalized the new format for the notice of assessment yet. That's what we were told at the meeting on Monday. So they're still working on that. There's also another part of that bill which increases personal property amount. Used to be $7,501. Now it's up to $20,000. So that's going to subtract maybe about 300 personal property accounts estimated that we have that won't be taxable anymore. Okay? I requested for a personal property order to person. That was denied by the Board of Commissioners. But you need a personal property person to handle only personal property. So what this new bill is going to do, it's going to push our timeline up, because we're going to have to run a temporary digest earlier. We don't run one until July usually. We're going to have to run one probably in March, okay? And that's going to have to be given to the schools, to the county, the city, and they're going to have to start doing an estimate on what their rollback millage rate is going to be. So it's going to push up our timeline in doing our work. So I just want you to know that. We usually send out our notices May 15th. I don't know if that number is going to be affected going forward with this new bill, but I'll keep you informed. All right? Now, before I get to the September 3rd, 2024 BOC work session meeting, I wanted to make a couple of comments. I've been very respectful of county commissioners and other taxpayers who have criticized me, criticized our office. I've been very, very respectful, even though I haven't been afforded that same courtesy from them. And that's because of the way I was raised. That's why I'm very respectful. Okay? But it's time to stop the misinformation that's being disseminated to the public. And here are some facts. These are the facts. Okay? There's been no temporary collection order from the DOR saying our digest is out of order for 8 years in a row. Okay? 8 years in a row. The tax digest has been on time 8 years in a row to the Department of Revenue so that the tax commissioner can bill for taxes. In 2023, we only had 115 appeals. Okay? In 2024, we only had 171 appeals. That's out of 16,000 people. So if things were so out of whack and wrong, we would have 1,000, 1,500 appeals. That's a fact. Okay? There's no consent judgment from the Department of Revenue. And commissioners have said, oh, we're about to get fined $5 per parcel. No, we're not. No, we're not. That won't happen for at least possibly 6 years. So stop putting out misinformation about things. Okay? That's only if it's warranted in 6 years. Okay? All right? Now, I haven't made comments on certain employees, okay? And Kim Adams brought up the situation with the other employee in the office. Well, let me address that since I've never addressed it in public. One, I wasn't in the office that day when this occurred. Two, I was never told that an incident occurred. Now, to me, that's a red flag because it happened in our office. I was never told. I wasn't told that night. I wasn't told the next day. I wasn't told after that employee got arrested. I was never told by Kim Adams that this incident occurred. So to say that somehow the leadership is responsible for the environment in the office is wrong. Because I didn't cause the environment. Tommy Lee Crosby didn't cause the environment. Annette Jones didn't cause the environment. Tanisha Fairley Clark didn't cause the environment. Donna Welch didn't cause the environment. There are only at least 2 other people. Okay? Only at least 2 other people. All right? Now, Bill Goodman got up and said this and that. Okay? Well, here's a fact you need to know. It's a fact. Bill Goodman is Chris Widener's tenant. Bill Goodman pays Chris Widener rent every month. Okay? So 2 and 2 makes 4. About why he got up and said what he said, because he might be homeless. He might have to look for another place to live. So I wanted to address those things because I haven't addressed them being up here, and I've been very respectful, and I'm going to continue to be very respectful. But start with the misinformation. The sky ain't falling in Jones County. The values ain't out of whack because I would have 1,000 appeals. I had 171. That's a direct correlation to what people think their value is.
That's not factual.
It is factual, so stop it.
It ain't factual.
You can't interrupt me, okay?
I'm not interrupting.
You can't interrupt me. That is factual.
Order.
That is factual. Okay, so, stop. Well, you can leave.
Okay, order.
We'll start with the misinformation that people are putting out. Because like I said, our digest has been approved 8 years in a row. There's no collection order. 171 appeals, 115 appeals, no consent judgment for 6 years at least, being charged $5 per parcel like some commissioners have said would happen tomorrow. That's not true. It's not true at all. Okay? So, that's all I wanted to say. Now, on this, what was said at our last meeting was, I asked people to get up. You got the time? Oh, I asked people to get up to speak. No, I didn't. I had no idea somebody was gonna speak. But the chairman, Chris Wilder, knew somebody was gonna speak. That's why he cut me off and said, and you'll see, and he said, we got some people who wanna speak. How did he know that? How did he know that? But he knew Bill Goodman and Kim Adams were gonna speak before I even knew. I had no idea. So 2 and 2 makes 4. But you all smart people, you can look for it for yourself. Later.
Because that's what I'm looking at, with the number of appeals we had, how many changes. Because what I heard the other week, was 9,400 approved May of this year. Because that's a very recent number.
May of 2023.
Okay, well, how many were approved May of 2024?
I have to pull the,
Because that's a very relevant number to the amount of increase we have.
well, yeah, I mean, but we did the changes across the board, so, there are roughly,
16,000 parcels, I'm just looking at how many changes.
probably 1,000 residents.
Commercial, residential,
If
agricultural.
we can, let's do this. We're on the agenda item. If we can continue this, we got some big,
Sure, if you can pull those numbers for the next meeting.
Oh, sure.
all right. Anybody wanna speak tonight before you? Go ahead. Just for the record, you're.
Bill Goodman, level 2 appraiser, I do commercial, residential. The 9,400 changes, we did that last year, that reflects in this year's numbers. It was done incorrectly. The way you're supposed to do that is you're supposed to do sales ratio studies on those neighborhoods. I was told to do 3 years effective year across the board. No facts, no nothing, just do this. If we'd have done that the right way, done the sales ratio studies, on average, they went up $10,000 to $12,000. They probably should have went up 25 to 30. Y'all would have adjusted the millage rate, everything would have been all right. It wasn't done properly. That's why our number went down on those. They weren't done right. We're taught ways to do things. I don't have a lot of letters after my name. I'm plain, simple, plain spoken guy. But I know what's right and what's wrong. I have a little statement if y'all will indulge me. I appreciate it. Tony's a very smart guy. Very, very smart. He's done a lot of good things here. I've tried to be the best employee possible for him and this county. But ultimately, the citizens of this county are who I must answer to and be responsible to. The first thing we're taught in our first class is fairness and uniformity. And the way things are now, we're not. Processes and procedures, we're taught by the Department of Revenue, are not being followed. Grades, values are all over the place. The grades placed on the house, unless they're massive improvements and or additions, the grade is supposed to remain unchanged. If the house sells, you don't bump the grade from a 120 to a 150 to get your grade, to get your price right. You go in and you do sales ratio studies and you raise the tables the way we did this year. Same with overrides. They're there to be used sparingly in correct context. Again, that context is not chasing sales. Tony said we did subdivisions. We did. I did M through Z. He did A through I. But go up with effective years, but you don't go crazy on it, and you don't just pick, let's do 3 years. You do a sales ratio, and you know what number you need to be, and you do it, and you're correct, and you don't get this mess we have today. That's why our numbers for last year's down. If we done it the right way, our numbers will be better this year. We did the right thing this year in raising the price per square foot tables. And y'all responded with the right thing. Values rise, the millage rate goes down. In 2023, on $100,000 of fair market value property, times a 40% assessment, the taxes were $1,420.80. This year, with the rollback, taxes on the same property, $100,000 times $40,000, or $1,312, a reduction of $108. The system it's a system of checks and balances, and when it's applied correctly, it works correctly. But when you go willy-nilly here and there, you're in a mess. That's the right way to do things, the way we did this year. Everything came out revenue neutral and was applied fairly and uniformly. Unfortunately, that was this year only. There are many houses here, still some too high, some too low. What's needed is a thorough review and reevaluation of our digest. We don't do that because in our staff, the way it's ran, we're treated with condescension, intimidation. With any suggestions we have, you never know when your head's going to get ripped off, even if you're agreeing with it. When we heard Tony was going to be hired, we prepared a letter detailing Tony's history in Fulton and in D.C. and presented it to our Board of Assessors. They called us in the back office and asked us, who did we think we were, to try to tell them how to run the office. Since then, we felt we had no recourse. We have to do what he tells us to do. But our department is a mess with overrides, with grades, and there are subdivisions here that the same exact house, same square footage, same builder, same everything, goes from 130 to 150 to 180 grade to chase the sales. We've got a mess. I don't know if I have a job after this, but I feel as I had to say this. I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
I'm Kim Adams. I've been with the Assessor's Office for 12 years, and I have to support what Bill said. Our market's gone up. We haven't kept up with the appropriate changes with keeping uniformity and to fairly assess people. We use overrides inappropriately. There's way too many of them. We have over 35% overrides in one category. We're supposed to have less than 5. It's ridiculous. And it makes me sick and embarrassed. I'm really embarrassed by it. Subdivisions with similar houses, as I said, they've changed the grades. There's not, they're being changed just because they sold. We should be looking at houses equally and blindly, as in what the characteristics are so that they're fairly done. Not, did this one sell, but that one didn't. That's not our job. There are types of houses that haven't been looked at all. There are aspects to that we could change to keep up and be fair and uniform. We haven't looked at in years. Last year our ratio was low. Last year I knew this year would be low. I know right now. I'll tell you right now, it's going to be low next year too. The concerns just haven't seemed to be received well, and as Bill said, there's been a lot of intimidation and we can't speak freely. I probably won't have a job after this too. And I know that standing here. But I can't stay quiet anymore. After I've been through it, I've been hurt mentally, very bad financially. was withheld from me personally. But more than what's happened to me is what happens to everyone in the county, because it's not fair. Last year, we were told by the Department of Audits some things we needed to do. We were told how much per square foot it looked like we needed to raise to, point blank. We are barely at half of what they told us. We didn't use the tools as available to us. There's a field of appeals. If we're doing our job right, I hate to say it, we're gonna make people upset in my office. That's just the nature of the business here. So we can't be afraid of appeals. We just have to be confident in our work product that we have done the right thing and we have truly, fairly assessed everyone. I like to say we spread the frosting evenly. We want to make sure that the person that has the single wide mobile home and the person with the 3-story house with an elevator are appropriately taxed equally. Does that mean they pay the same taxes? No. But their values are appropriate, so they both pay the right proportionate. Right now, the only thing I think we could do is do a full county reevaluation. I don't think that our internal staff can do it because of time and availability. To do what we need to do, plus a reeval, is a huge task. And if we had 3 or 4 years to correct it, we could do it. We could do it internally. But I think that we should seriously be considering doing a full third-party reevaluation to adjust the grades back, to look at sales ratio for neighborhoods, and to do it right and not just be choosing values. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else tonight? This will be the last one, then we'll take a break for the open session.
I apologize for not signing tonight, Dan Howard. I have spoken with the Appraisal Standards Committee, United States in charge of what they handle as the committee members. We have a document that appraisers have to follow called use path. That's what tells us how to be ethical, how to be fair, how to basically make sure that the work we're doing can be trusted. It's a very important document. All appraisers must follow that. It's a very serious document. When your values are raised from $48 to $60 without any form of justification, any form of work, any form of file, any form of research, is a violation of use patent. It is an extreme violation of use patent, such to the point that the vice chair of that subcommittee has reached out to me. I'm also speaking with a level 4 appraiser within the state. She's concerned. You can't do that. You have to show your work. Bill is right. It's done wrong. As a member of the Board of Equalization, I'm charged to make sure that this is uniform in this county, that they're assessed uniformly. I can tell you they are not. When I found out that Mr. Kitchens had an appraisal, I looked at his numbers. I looked at it, and he's correct. There's several properties around him that aren't assessed correctly. Easy to fix, very easy to fix. But I was also shocked at what he had to deal with. I wasn't on the board that day. My job is to make sure in this county, on my board, that we deal with equalization and uniformity. We're not there. Of the appeals that I've seen this year so far, the properties that I've agreed with within the board have been uniform of what they presented to me. But you need to know that you can't just blanket a value, because that mobile home that's falling apart is worth $48 a square foot. It is. And that massive building downtown is not worth $60 a square foot. It's not uniform. Thank you.
We can't get a motion adjourned for quite break, so we can go to.
That's it? Okay, for the pleasure of the people in the audience, this is the first time we've reviewed this information. We've heard all kinds of innuendos referring to it, but it's been played tonight for the record. So there's nobody at the board now that's not knowledgeable of the information that was disseminated at the commissioners meeting. It's somewhat disturbing to me that those three individuals came before the Board of Commissioners, but have never spoken to this board. If some of you were here last month, well, it wasn't last month, it was last month, the 27th, we gave all employees an opportunity to speak their mind. Even Mr. Goodman and Ms. Adams. They didn't advise us any of this. Now, let me just caution you, just because they say it doesn't make it true. But I think it's incumbent of the Board of Assessors to investigate and try to come to some realization or factuation of the information that's been disseminated. But it has not been disseminated. I've sat here over the last year and until recently to answer one of the claimants, one of the comments. This board room is usually only filled with staff and board members. That's it. And occasionally, we had, I think Mr. Purvis, he was here. He had a concern about his evaluation on a boat. And we addressed that by going out, and I hope they adjusted that correctly.
They did next year.
Okay. So again, and he can attest, on that given night, he was probably the only person in the audience that was a citizen. I'm not naive, and I'm not bullied by people. But people have come up and said very nasty, rude things.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, for the good of the order, my skin may be a little thicker than the ladies, but I had somebody come up here and ask for an apology, but I got two ladies sitting next to me that I think it was atrocious the way they've been talked to. Because they serve at the pleasure of the Board of Commissioners. They were requested to serve. We didn't ask nobody to do it. Right now, we could be doing something else. So, with all this, I don't know, background and all this information that's been disseminated, and all these accusations for dismissal or removal, whatever, there's a process to do that too. State legislature have put that in place. And if it warrants it, then truly, I command the commissioners to take that route. But I can tell you today, from where I stand, I have not violated the oath of the office that I was requested to take. I've been fair, and until recently, I've only served as the chair for the last 3 months, and hopefully we've conducted the business in a proper professional way. I've seen statements in the paper. I don't know if the reporter is here, but I can say this, Ms. Reporter. I was in the Ace Hardware and I saw a headline saying Board of Assessors didn't know how to vote. Let me remind you, we were provided counsel. That's who helps us navigate law. I'm not an attorney. But for some reason, that information failed to make that headline. Understand? So, if I'm not going to proceed any further in this narrative, because I don't want to upset anyone here, and surely I don't want to disrespect anyone here, but I can tell you from where I sit, I find it disturbing that we had 2 Board of Tax Assessors appraisers that were free to come before this board and have yet to express these claims of mismanagement, misappropriation, whatever. And I don't feed into the scuttlebuttle of reading the paper or listening to comments from people that don't know what they're talking about, especially when I'm here to listen to the facts presented in a fair way. So with that being said, again, the operation of the tax assessor's office is really kind of simple to me. They are charged with going out, appraising property, and keeping up with the market. That's pretty much it. Your taxes are set by the millage rate. That's done by the Board of Commissioners. And you as a citizen at all times has an opportunity to appeal. The appraisal process isn't a true science. They factor in, like you heard the lady say, where you did a new roof, or the material your house is covered with, or how well you keep your property. All those factors go into appraisal. I'm not an appraiser, but I'm just like you. I get my appraisal notice. Most of the time I agree with it. Be honest with you, I say to myself, if I had to sell my property the way they got it appraised, they got it too low. That's probably because I think highly of my property, but I'm a realist too, because I see what properties are selling for. So this end of what we have come to the regular agenda, I'm gonna ask the board for a motion to enter into executive session. But before I do that, I'm gonna ask the board members, would they like to generate any concerns? Because I've been told by the county attorney that any disclosure of information relative to personnel issues or discovery must be done in this hearing, correct?
Yes, sir. Open
Okay.
meeting.
So if you would like to ask any employee any questions relative to what you heard on the video or what you haven't heard, I'm gonna allow you to do it at this time if you need more information.
I'm good.
You good? Okay, so I would like to ask a question, if you don't mind. Mr. Goodman, could you come forward? Again, for the pleasure of the audience, this is a process that we're required to do to discover information in order for us to make a determination. So, Mr. Goodman, my concern or my question to you going forward, do you think you can operate as an appraiser, as a subordinate to the chief appraiser in the Jones County Tax Assessor's Office?
I've been doing it for 8 years.
No, sir. I'm asking today, yes or no?
Yeah, I don't have any problem with Tony.
I didn't say Tony, I said chief appraiser.
Whoever the chief appraiser is, when it was Linda I did, when it's been Tony I have. I've communicated with him. I've been doing a lot of work this week.
So in a subordinate status, would it be unfair to ask you, if you have concerns about values or things of that nature, you said you did from N to Z, would it be advisable that you supported assisting the chief appraiser in your analysis of what you may or may not feel is correct or incorrect?
Rephrase that, I'm not sure what you're...
I'm asking you as a subordinate. You just said you could. Would you have any problem assisting the chief appraiser, whoever it is, in your observation of whether something is right or wrong, or correct or incorrect?
No, I've never had a problem with that.
Okay. And the last question, if you had any concerns relative to the operation of the office, do you feel that you can freely come before the Board of Tax Assessors and express yourself?
No, I don't.
Okay.
When y'all called us in here for the, when we were grilled that night in executive session, the illegal session I might add, I tried to explain to y'all what the problems were in our office. Y'all didn't want to listen to any of that. All that you and Cheryl could ask me was why I picked on Tony.
But
I tried
I'm sorry,
to
sir, please don't lie on me. I did not say that. No,
That's
sir,
not a
that was
lie.
not, that never came up.
I tried to tell you
Okay.
we were out of whack on grades, we were out of whack on overrides, and when we did the neighborhoods you're talking about, we didn't do them the proper way. Since that time, Tony has got up here and said, we're now doing sales ratios before we do neighborhoods. We went through and removed, I don't know how many overrides. Tony has said we've went through and regraded subdivisions. The three main substantive
Mr.
things
Goodman,
I
Ms.
said,
Goodman, I hate to break you
you're
off.
doing it again.
No, I asked you a simple question. Did you feel that you could bring any comments or concerns before that board? And you said no.
That's correct.
Okay.
You're proving me right.
Well, I'm just restating what I asked the question, okay?
Okay.
So we get off the narrative, and I'm asking you that because as the county attorney has made all parties aware in a November 5th memorandum to the commissioners, is that correct? November 5th?
I'm not sure of the date.
Well, one that we would produce.
November the 5th, 2024.
Yes, ma'am, where you advised the Board of Commissioners, and we received a copy at our last call meeting, that this board has the authority, and that's what we just kind of said on item 11 for the hiring, determination, and the disciplining of the staff. Is that correct?
That's right, but I did also advise this board that if there were things discussed in that executive session that should not have been dealt with in the executive session, it needed to be heard in open meeting.
Yes, ma'am, and that's why we're doing it. That's why we brought it in here, okay?
So are we attempting now to
No,
sort of rehash the
No,
things
ma'am, I'm not
in
trying to
exec-
rehash.
have that evidence?
Part of the process, as I understand it, is in order for us to make a determination on the employment status or any disciplinary action in that office, that information has to be displayed here, correct?
Correct.
That's what it's covering.
So right, anything that he relayed to you in that executive session needs to be relayed in this open meeting for you all to take it into
Yes,
account.
ma'am, and that's why I asked just clear, definitive questions relative to the employee in his status, in his role. Could he be a subordinate not only to the chief appraiser, but to the board of tax assessors? That's the purpose of the question.
Were those the only questions asked in
Those-
executive session, though?
No, we did not ask those questions. I didn't ask those questions.
So that is what, again, let me phrase it another way perhaps. If there were any other items in executive session that you all want to be able to consider and any decisions that you all want to consider, the employee needs to present that to you now for you to consider it because it was invalid to be heard in executive session.
I understand it. At that hearing, and I can't disclose what was said because it was in a hearing, okay? And we attempted to ratify that at the last call here, using the same format, offering the employees to come forward and voice their concerns. If you recall, we was at that meeting, correct?
I recall that you had a session where you asked the employees.
To come forward and voice their concerns of the operation of the office.
Right,
Okay.
it was after that though that we discussed the issues with the executive session.
No, we discussed that prior to. Yeah, we discussed that prior to.
I'm,
And that's why we went into a corrective mode. I wasn't the chair then, but that's when we went into
I wasn't at
corrective
that
mode
meeting.
to ask for the employees to come forward in an open meeting to express their concerns.
yes,
Okay.
it all needs to be dealt with in open meeting.
Exactly, and that's what we did. And, Mr. Goodman was given the opportunity at the podium, just like every other employee. And I don't recall any information other than, I guess, what we heard that was somewhat in conflict with what we just heard on the, video monitor. That's from my perception, okay? And hopefully, he concurs. I did not get a written statement or at that meeting last month that the commissioners received. And I wasn't privy to the commissioners meeting. That's why we looked at it tonight. Is that
Yeah,
out of order?
That's not a legal question. I mean, if you can take in any evidence into account that the chair wishes to take, yes.
So we were able to listen to that and that falls within our purview of,
If you desire to take that into account, it's been heard in open meeting and you can do so.
okay, good. That's what I thought. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Good.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Adams, if you could come forward and we could, maybe clear up some concerns with you. And again, I ask the members, do you have any questions? Again, thank you for coming forward. And of course, let me explain. We acted to put you on suspension with pay in order to resolve some of the issues of a toxic environment that the members of your coworkers had expressed at the hearing. Moreover than that, I think there were some actions had been taken to remove you from the office area. Is that correct?
For my safety.
But you have been removed from the office area, correct?
Yes, for my safety.
Mr. Goodman was removed also, correct?
I believe for his safety as well.
You can't speak for him, but I'm just asking.
It's just my belief.
Okay. So, in order to continue that, I think the board members would be considerate to try to have an opportunity for common sense to overcome emotions and all this toxic atmosphere. And based upon insubordination that we felt that had been presented by you, the board moved to put you on suspension until today. Okay.
I'm still unclear as to what act I did.
So I just have some clear, just simple questions. Do you think that you can operate as an appraiser in the Board of Tax Assessors office under the leadership of the chief appraiser, any chief appraiser, as a subordinate?
Yes.
And the other question is, if there are any questions relative to the processing in that office or any concerns you may have, do you feel you can bring those concerns to this board and express them with this board?
Not as it currently sits. I don't feel comfortable with that, and you've shown through your actions that you are not interested in listening to the truth.
Okay, so I'm asking you again, if you had concerns for the proper and operation of the office, you could not bring it before this board?
I have
So-
not seen evidence you would listen.
When I say you, you're talking about the board as
The
it-
board members.
So there's been a board that consisted of 5 members at one time, and I never heard any comment. So I would assume the current board members as well as the previous board members.
Correct.
Okay. So you could not be a subordinate to the Board of Tax Assessors.
I can be a subordinate, that I just don't believe that you are willing to listen to the truth or my opinion.
I don't understand that answer. Either you can be a subordinate to the Board of Tax Assessors or you can't.
I can do my job, and I can take direction with my job, but that doesn't mean I have any trust in the board.
Okay, so if part of your job is maintaining fair, equitable treatment through proper appraisals, that this board has just acted on several things tonight, you don't feel that it's your responsibility to provide that information to the Board of Tax Assessors?
I can do my job to the best of my ability.
That wasn't the question. I said, can you provide the information to the Board of Tax Assessors?
I'd be glad to provide you at any time, especially if you're willing to listen.
Okay, so you realize we don't operate in the board, okay? So that information has to be forthcoming to the board without request. So I'm just asking, and I probably asked it too many times, you said it, but I'm just not clear because you said, can you bring information before this board so we can properly apply our responsibilities to the operation of that office?
I will bring as much information as you'd like to try to keep the office in fair and uniform.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I ask, without comment, just a simple ask. Thank you. Okay, that concludes that part. If you don't have any questions, you got any questions? Yeah. All right, so before you all leave, we have one board member that is at the end of her tenure. She's been on the board since 2013.
11 years.
And she was appointed by the Board of Commissioners, and she's fulfilled that commitment to the citizens of Jones County. in the most respectful, professional way that I've been able to admire during my short tenure here. However, this board member, Ms. Geraldine, has elected to retire at the end of her term, and that term will terminate at the end of this hearing. So I would like for all, as well as the board, to share in my sincere appreciation for this board member's willingness to give of her time, effort, and talent to provide service to the citizens of Jones County. I say that with great respect and admiration. Would I say anything?
Thank you all very much. I appreciate each one of you, and I love you dearly. And I hope that we do continue to progress and rebuild and build on things that we need to do for Jones County.
Thank you. With that being said, the chair will entertain a motion for executive session. Can I get a motion? I have a motion to go into executive session. Do I hear a second?
I second it.
It's been properly motioned and second to go into executive session. Call for the question. All those in favor do so by raising your hand. All those opposed likewise. You want to take a break here? Or? All right, we'll take a 3-minute break here so people can